If you want to start getting back to you'll lead it to the back. No, I told him to start going back to after I got up.
Oh, okay. and then turn it on. Blowing through the universe. Like an amoeba. Yeah. With no particular direction. I kind of show up. What do you want to do? Do what I want to do. I don't have to. Hey, I'm working. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, not that. I got nothing on my agenda. Getting soft. But Wednesday's a ruin. I gotta work on it. Yeah, I don't want to. Thursday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, killing me. Hold on. So you get a long weekend, so. Yeah. Do what I gotta do. So yeah, once one comes over on we'll get 12. You got about 12. The following Thursday. Yeah. That's good. That works. Get soft molding. Yeah. We went to Tanneria. Went up there for both. You made it as far as Wausau. What did we play? Yeah, we were all rough. If
anybody is parking in the parking lot next door, no parking permitted to park in the parking lot.
Hey, no laughing. It is time, sir. I don't know.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome here to Keystone Point, our weekly First Canadian auction. My name is Ron. If you have any issue during the sale, let us know and we get you back on track. Do keep in mind, everything we auction is sold on lien sale paperwork. Unless we tell you otherwise, in which case there may be a title to it or perhaps a salvage title. We do have some of those there, should be printed on your list, okay? All right. We say sold in the vehicle, guys. We need you to stand up out of your chair, come up to the window where you're registered, and complete the transaction. Okay. And as far as payment goes, we will take your cash. We'll take MasterCard, Visa, and debit cards, as long as those cards are in your name, the registered bidder. All right. Hey, can somebody move that vehicle out there, you know, Mark? Okay, hey, if anybody's out here, I forget what kind of vehicle it is, but if you're blocking the driveway or parked out there by the fire hydrant or whatever you're ready, you better move it, okay? Because it will get impounded. All right, online people, you can come in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and we'll complete your transaction. You get till 12 noon to get your vehicle out. On-site people, if you can't get your vehicle out tonight, don't panic because you'll get to 12 noon tomorrow as well, okay? No 10-day holds today, so I think everything's gonna go out the door. Yeah, we do have some vehicles here with key charges, okay? Cars that come in with keys, we don't charge for those. But if we happen to make a key in order to start a vehicle, that will be added on to the purchase price, and I'll do my best to remind you what those key charges are when we get down there, okay? All right. Seems like I forgot something, but, that's okay. If I remember, I'll tell you as we go through. All right, anybody have any questions before we start? No questions? Okay, no problem. Let's go. All right, here we go, number one, guys. Here comes 6/2018. Got a Nissan Sentra car. All right, Ford on automatic, salvage title here. What are you gonna do here at 900? He said three and a quarter. I got three and a quarter, and that quarter here, three and a quarter, and that quarter, and a half here, 50. And up 50, 50, gonna go 53, got about 50 now, 75, 400, not 4, here, need a quarter. And a quarter, and a half, 40, 50, gonna go 50, 54, 50 now, 75, 500. About 500 dollars, a quarter, need a quarter, do a quarter, do a quarter, right here, need a half. About 5.5, 550 now, 75, gonna go 75 and 6. About 600. About $600, a little stretch, don't worry about it, 6, now a quarter. About 6 and a quarter, I'll take it mine. About 6 and a quarter, 6 and a quarter, you guys ready? Quarter, half. About half, 6 and a quarter, half over here, now 75. About 75, online, 6.5. 675 on site, 7. About 7, yes sir. About 7 and a quarter, 7 and a quarter, 750, you're gonna go 50, 57 and a quarter here. I got 7.5. I got a half. I got a half. Now 75. Now 8. How about 8? 800. How about they hit about she must like the car? How about they hit numbers? 800, now here, and I'm gonna sell a tank for 775. And we're gonna put on the number 8. Here comes a 2004 250 mile on that family cash. They're going on the magic check of the line. We're going to 9 here, 900. Up to $500. We should do it again. Bring it a quarter. Now let's bring it a quarter. 3. Bring it a quarter. A quarter here, a quarter, no half. I got a half. We used to bring it a quarter here on site. I got a half. 75 and 4 and a quarter. And a quarter here is your turn. A quarter online, now half. How about a half? The 75. How about 75? 4.5 years, 75, 500. How about 5 here, $500, 500, we're gonna go 5 here, $500, no, solar tank. 475, number 6 is the higher, number 3, comes about 117. Only 4, 8 defensive man, guys, okay? Got the third goal on the magic, what do you say? How about downside? How about down to the goal, 5 to go, you said 3, 3.5, 4, 400, no half. I got a hand in the here, 500 here, 500, 5, no half. I'm a 500, and 600, you're gonna go 600, 600 here, you're gonna go 675, 6. How about 6? Now a quarter, and a half, and 75, and 7. How about 7? 675 there, 7 quarter, 7.5, 75. How about 75? 7.5 here, 775. 775, 75, 75, 75, 8, now apart. And I go on side of 8, guys. A quarter here, a half, 8.5, 875, 875, 875, 8.5. How about 875, 875, 75? Yes, sir. And we sold it. 75, 9, 9. How about 9? We're gonna go 9. 875 on line, 9. How about 9? Pink versus in. 875, 9? Nope, sold. 875, number 6 is the buy. Oh, this guy, oh my goodness. Here we go, number 4, here comes the mini model, here we got the court here. All right, 4 going on the minute, straight on the line, establish title, and changing it down here, 2 to the quarter. How about 2 to the quarter, 2 to the quarter on the 100 car. How about 2 to the quarter, the 75, we're going to go 75, 275, what do you say? How about 275, 275, 3. And 3 online, not quarter. I know you guys are both up. How about 3 get a quarter, 3 get a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, here we saw the 10. At 300, number 6 is the buyer, all right, here's number 5. Here comes a low 5. On the GMC, yeah, half ton guys. They get those runs, you go, not again. Here, 8, how about they hit about 4, 5. How about 5 here, 8, 9. How about 9.5, 9, now half, at 1,000, and a half, at a hand, there, 50, 50, 1,000, 1,050, gonna go 50, 50 on quarter, half, 75. How about 75, 11, 11, 100, 11, quarter, here, need a quarter, now half, and then 75, gonna go 75, 75, 100, not quarter. How about quarter, now half, 1.5, 75, 13, 13, so yes, 13, not quarter. and a quarter here, need a half, 75, 14. About 14, I got 14 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a half, here, 50, 50, 50 here now, 75, now 15, you're gonna go 15, and now half, 15, 50, and a 50, 16, how about 16, you're gonna go 16, now half, how about a half, 16, how about 50, and a 50, 50, you're gonna go 50, 50, and a 50 here, and I have sold a tank. 16 online, 1600 online here in the state. Maybe I have a car. Right, they get one scan, 400 minutes to the 800. How about they get about 3.5, 4, no half, no 5, 6, 7. How about 7, you're gonna go 7, no half, here, 15, no 80, 800, no 15, you're gonna go 59 here, 9, no 50. And look at 50, 50, how about quarter, now half. How about a half? Each time the quarter here, 9.5 where? How about 915? You're gonna go 50, 50 right here. This 75 now, $1,000. And the thousand to go, 1,000 to go, 1,000 to go, 1,000 to go, 1,000. Yes or no? How about 1,000 and a quarter here, now half, 1,050. Your turn again. How about 1,050? Then 1,050, left 50, left 50, left 50 here. Now we have solar tech. All right, 1,025, number 8 is, oh, here we go, number 7, here comes the 27. We have for the bonus card, guys, for the, sugar right here, and 800. I got about, we said 3.5. I got 350, quarter, half, 75, now 4. How about 4, a quarter, half, 4.5, that's 75. How about 75, we're gonna go 475, now 5. I have 5, and a quarter. And a quarter pound, now 75, you're gonna go 75, 5.5. 575, you're gonna go 75. No, 6, now quarter. And a quarter, 600 here. How about 6 and a quarter, 625, you're gonna go 625.5, and now 75. And now 7, you're gonna go 7 and a quarter, now half. And a half, 7 and a quarter here, half here, now 75, 800. How about $800, 800? How about $800? Now we need here, $800, we need now quarter, half. How about half, 8 quarters here, 850. How about 850, 50, 850, 50, 850, 75, now $900. How about 9, we're gonna go 9, come on, who's first, let's go. How about 9? How about 9, we're gonna go 9, we're gonna go 9, here's solar time, let's say. At 875, number 8 is the buyer, here's the 8 car, oh, here's the Cobalt. Automatic should have arrived. Everybody come there. How about they got about? She said, "Three in the car." I quarter here, quarter in the hand, the 75, gonna go 75, 75, and a quarter, now half. How about a half? How about a half? The 75, we're gonna go 75. How about 475? Now 5, 500, now 5, now quarter. How about a quarter? And a half. How about 5 and a half? How about a quarter is over here? 550. And 50, 50, go 75, you're gonna go 75, 5.5 up here. How about 575, you're gonna go 75, 75, 75, solar tank. At 550 online, right? Here we go, number 9, here comes an old 5. Yeah, well, here we go. All right, so $4, not a minute. They come to 5, no, all right, here we go with the 800. They got a bus. She said 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter here? How you take 15? Gonna go 50, 50, no 75. How about 75? Gonna go 75 over $400. Not quarter here. Need a quarter. What do you say? A quarter now. Now 75. How about 75? Gonna go 75 or 75. Wait, we got now 5, not quarter. And a quarter here, 5 here. Need a quarter, half. How about half? Now 75. How about 75? You're gonna go 75, 5.5 here. How about 575? You're gonna go 75, 75, and now I sold it. At 550, number 8 is the buyer, right? Here we have number 2, and here comes an 85. Every card. All right, quarter, 100 minutes, you're gonna buy 2 and a quarter. How about 2 and a quarter? Now half. I got a half, he's a quarter. A half, that's 75, and 3. Number 3, and a quarter, now half, 75, and 4, and a quarter, and a half, and 75, 500, now a quarter, and a quarter, now half, 5.5, now 75, and 6, and 60, a quarter, now half, 6.5, and now 75, now 700, and now a quarter, now half, 7.5, a half, And now 75 on line, eight, now a quarter, now a half. And then 75, nine, now a quarter. And a half, 75,000, now a quarter. And a half, 75. And now 11, now a quarter, now a half. And 75, then pounds, and a quarter, and a half. 75, and what's in the trunk? How about 13, now a quarter, now a half. I got a half, 1350, that 50, he's a quarter, he's a half. How about 1350, 50, is that a yes or no? 13 and a half and now 75? And 75, 75, 75, gonna go 75. Thank you. 13 and a half, 1375, gonna go 75, and we sold it 10 for 1350. Straight away, yes, sir. All three, so okay, 103 divide, 103 divide, number 11. Here we got 100 CRV guys, $4, automatic, stick on the right here, we got a pound sign. I got five and a bucks, 1, 3, 5, 5 and a half, 6 and a half. 8, 7 and a half, and now we 75, now we not quarter, a quarter, now half, and a half, we say a quarter, and a half, 75, now 9, you guys are both all 9, not quarter, and a quarter, 9's over there, 9 and a quarter, now half, about a half, 9 and a quarter's up here, 9 and a half over here, now 75, about 75, we're gonna go 975, $1,000. And a thousand, a quarter here, he's 10. About 10 and a quarter, be a quarter, what do you say? About 10 and a quarter here, and we have sold it thing for 1,000 even. We'll put it on the huge card, number 12. All right, 400 minutes, we're gonna right here, give me about 1,000. It's a three and a quarter. I have here 75 and a quarter, 400 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a half. I got a half, you guys are both down at 4.5, and I got a quarter here, I got a 5 and a quarter, 5 and a half. How about 5 and a half? Now 75, 6 and a quarter, and a half, 75. 675, online, now 7, a quarter, now half, 75, and 8 and a quarter. And a half, 75. 8, 75, 8, 75. 8, 75, 9, now a quarter. And a half, 75, now 1,000 and a half. And now 11, now a half, 11 and a half, 12, 1,200, and 12, 75. How about 11, 75, 11 and a half here. 75 on 9, 12, 1,200. How about 12, you guys all off. How about 12 and another, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200, and we sold it time. 1175 online, here's 1,513, here's another 375. Here's a hundred lunch, all right, order automatic, so everyone also comes with $80 each charge, okay? Hey, there we go, so I'm gonna give you about 9 bucks. She said 3 and a half, now 4, now half, now 5, now half, and 6 and a half, and 7 and a half, and 8 and a half, and a half, 8 and a half, now 9 and a half, now 1,000, and 1,000. How about 975? Okay, now 1,000, now a quarter, now I got 1,000 right here. 10 and a quarter, and a half, and 1,050, what do you mean? Come on now, give me 1,050. 1,050, 1,050, and I sold it to the back. At 1,025, 16, right. All right, here's number 14, here we go, 1725. All right, so right here, here, 5. I get 2, 2 and a quarter, 2 and a half. A half, 75. Now that's 75. 275. I already have 2 and a half. 275, so we sold it 10. At 215, it's number 15. That's a lien car. Here runs back. $4, for here, somebody gets up to 600. I got 2, 2 and a quarter. 2 and a half, 275. About 75, 3 and a quarter, no higher, 50, 50, gonna go 50, 75 on the 4. I have 4, now a quarter, now a half. I quarter here, half, 75. I got 5 and a quarter. How about 5 and a quarter, 5 and a quarter, now a half, 5 and a half. And at 50, 5 and a quarter is up front. And the 5 and a 50, 50, 75, now 6. How about 6? Minus 75, 6 on site, now a quarter. And a quarter, 6 here, 6 and a quarter, are you good? How about 6 and a quarter, 6 and a half? How about a half? That's 75. How about 675? Money's here, 6 and a half, 75 on line, now 7. But seven, you're gonna go seven, seven and a quarter, seven's on site, seven and a quarter. But seven and a quarter, need a quarter, what do you say, seven and a quarter, and we sold it up here for 700, 700. Let me see if I, number 100, okay, now you need to go to 100. Here comes the 2012. Nissan on the car, four-door automatic, trigger right here, somebody get 800. How about four? Half price, okay? How about half, no five? How about five right here, and a half? How about a quarter and a half? 75, six. You want six? These five, 75, six. Now quarter, now half. How about a half? Six and a quarter, six and a half. 75, you want 75? And seven, and a quarter, and a half, seven and a half. How about a half, seven and a half, seven and a quarter, three and a quarter, need a half, 75, at 800. How about eight and a quarter, 825 and a half, 850, 850, 8.5. 850, 850, 850, 50, right here now, 75. How about 75, 875, now 9. How about 9, 82, you guys say 9? And a quarter? And a quarter, 9's over here. How about nine and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, quarter, that here, right, solar tank for $900. Let's get his buyer number. So what's your number there? What's your buyer number? Hey guys, what's your buyer number? Number 175. Well, here's number 17 is an old here. All right, $400, give me about 800. 800. You said three, you'll take it in a quarter. Not quarter, half. How about three and a half? Three and a quarter, three and a half. That's 75. How about 75? Now four, four, now a quarter, now half, now 75. And five, 500, now a quarter, now half, five and a half. And 75, and now six, now a quarter, now a half. How about a half? Now 75, now seven, give me seven. How about seven? Now a quarter, now a half. How about a half piece, seven and a quarter here? How about seven and a half? 750, you're gonna go 50, 50, is that a yes? Seven and a half, 75, now eight. 800, now a quarter, 825, 825, each back here. How about the quarter here, 825 and a half, and a half, you say 25. Right, how about 50, 50, they have the 50, the 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, yes, so I sold the tank for 825, 105 is one, here comes the 170, you're gonna carry it, right? Right, here we go, 800. How about 800 bucks, 400 bucks? I get, four, four and a half. I get a half, how about a quarter? You said that four, four and a quarter, now a half. I got a half, 75, now a quarter, five and a quarter, need a half. I got a half, now six, now a quarter, now a half. How about a half, now 75, now seven, 700, now a quarter, now a half. And 75, and eight, and a quarter, and a quarter, and a half, and a half, 75, and nine, and 100. And a quarter, right here, and a half, I got a quarter, now a half. That's 75. How about 75? Okay, now 1,000. And 1,000 on line 975. Take 1,000 on site, now a quarter. How about quarter? You get quarter. How about quarter? Now a half. I got a half. I got a half. This is one. And I found that 50, 75. Gotta go 75. How about 75? 11. 11, you're gonna get 11. How about 11? How about 11, 11, 11, 11 down here? We have a quarter. A quarter. I got 11 here. 11 quarters. And now a half. How about 11 and a half? What's this one? 1150, you're gonna go 50, 50, 1150, and we sold it, right? 1125 on mine, you got it, right? Here we go. Here's another two, three, five, four, five, six, right here, she said three, I'll take it in the quarter. I got three, you're taking a quarter, in the quarter, here, you're taking a quarter, what do you do here now? Half, and 75, you're gonna go 75, one is here, taking a half. 30, 75, you're gonna go 75, 75, 75, sold it, then, after we have 50,000, number six is tomorrow, 15 on my semi car. For, maybe you do, I'm not even about, what about your side? What? Now quarter, right here, now 75. And five, and a quarter, five and a quarter, five and a half, 75, and six, and a quarter, and a half. 75, and seven, and a quarter, and 75, 800. How about 800 here, nearly 775, 8 here, quarter now, and 75, we're gonna go 75, 900. How about 9, now quarter, now 75, and 1,000. And 1,000, 1,000 and a quarter, now have 75, 1,100. I get 11 and a quarter, now have 11 and a half, 75, and 12 and a quarter, now half, 12 and a half. Now 75. 13 and a half, 14 and a half, 14 and a half, 15 and a half, and 16 and a half, and 17 and a half, and 18, about 18 and a half, 18 and a half, 18 two, half there, 19, now a half, 19 and a half, and 2. How about 2? You're going to get 2 there? And then a half. Now what a half and now 1. How about 21, 21 to the under, 21, 20, 50 here, 1 here, need a half, and 2. And 22, how about 22? There we got 22, 22, need a half, and a half, 22, 22 and a half, now 3, 23, and 3, now a half, how about a half, 23 and a half, 23 and about 15, gonna go 15 and a 4, 24, gonna go 4, and 24, gonna go 400, gonna go 24, and now a half, and now a half, 24's over here. How about 2415, you get 2450, and 50, and 50, and we have so much very funny, 400 now. And that's yeah, she's got a little bit more. Here we go, 111. You get a Chevy Malibu guys, right? $4, automatic, give me about 900. How about 900 bucks? Great, 3.5, 4. How about 4? Good 4, 75. How about 375? Now 4. How about 4? You got 4, you got 375. Give me 4. Eric, give me 4. Now 4. And the quarter, I have 4 inside, quarter here, half where. How about 450? You're going to go 50, 50, 450. 4 quarters up here. 450, 50, and we sold in here. 425, number 6 is the buyer energy card. Number 22 is 1. Infinity is 139. All right, guys, so you pull one. You're going to see here. 9, how about 9 and above? 3, 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a half? Here, 75 and a quarter, 400 and a quarter here, half. And I have a 75, 75, 4 and a half. 475, now 5, here you need a quarter, so I'm a quarter. How about 5 and a quarter, 5 is over here. How about 5 and a quarter, and now a half, 5 and a half, 75. How about 75, you're gonna go by 75, by 75, money's 12 and a half. How about 575, you're gonna go 75. No, so that's by 50, number 4, by 50, number 4, 97. On the Nissan Maxima car. Right, order high left, to the right. Even about, she said, three will take it in a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter? You need a quarter, guys. Now, high, 75, now a 4, now a quarter, now 75. How about 5, 500, now a quarter, now a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, and a half, 75, and 6, 600, now a quarter, and a quarter, 6 over here. Now, about 6 and a quarter. How about 6 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, quarter, now half. I got a half. Almost half, that's 75. How about 75? Money 6 and a half. 75 on line. Now 7. 7 and a quarter. And a quarter, now a half. And a half, 75. 75. 775, 775. How about 775, 75, 75? And we sold it up there for 750, 50. 152. Come on up, here's number 24. Key Optima car, $4, automatic, straight to the right here. Hey, and how much you're gonna do here? Hey, I got 1,009, I got 14 and a half, 15. How about 15? You want 15? No, half. I got a half, 16 and a half, 17 and a half, 18 and a half, 19. How about 19, 19 and a half, and 2, 2 grand? How about 2 and a half, and 1, 1 and 1, we're gonna go 1, now half. How about a half, 21 and a half, 1 is 21. How about 21 and a half? Then 2, you're gonna get 2, 22, now a half, we're outside at 22. 22 and a half, online, now 3, 23, now half. How about 23 and a half? He's 23. How about 23? How about 15? 15 up 4, 15, gonna go 50, 50, no, 5, 25. How about 25 and a dollar and a half? That was like 25. How about 25 and a half? 26? No. How about a half again? We're still here, 26, even half. Here now, 7. How about 7? No, 7, 27, now half. How about half? 27 half, now 8. How about 28? 28, come on, first, your turn. 28. How about 28? Hey, here, no, you do it. So, 2750 online. Okay, there we go. Here's number 25. Here comes an old 6 on the city card. $2 on here, what do you say? I get to give you, she said, a quarter. How about we get a quarter, huh? I got a hundred, 50, 50, I'm gonna go 50 here, wake up, guys, I got three and a quarter, 3.5, 75, 400 and a quarter, and a half. A half, plus 75, 25 and a quarter, and a half, 75. 75 you both off, 75, 6, and a quarter, and a half, and 75 and 7, 7 and a quarter, 7 and a quarter, half, 7 and a half, 75. At 775, eat. I'm not even now he two leg off on me. I'm by being here so the tank. 775, number eight is the winner. 26. Here comes the 26. We got 70, right? $4. A bit. I get about 800. 800 we will take it in a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter and a half, 75, 4 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, and a half. How about a half, or 50, gonna go 50, 50, and a 75, a 75, 500. How about 5 and a half, we're gonna go 5, we're gonna go 5, and a quarter here, money's only 75, 5, and a quarter, and a quarter, you got 9, 5. How about 5 and a quarter, and a half. How about a 50, 50, you're gonna go 50, 5 and a quarter. How about 550, you're gonna go 50, 50, 550, 50, 50, and we have soda tank. For 5 and a quarter, from number 8 is Meyer, here's number 27. See here, we have the zip. I mean, I actually got a little scratch on the backside. But you could fix it. I mean, time, here we go, so you mean how much? But it's me? No? Ah. 300, 600, 700. How about 8? How about $800 here now? 9, we're gonna go 9 here, 9. Quarter, half, 8.5, which is about 850, now 75. How about 75? 8.5 here, 875. 875, 75, 900 now, we're going 9. How about 9? Not quarter here, you're off. I got 9 on 9, 9 and a quarter right there, half. How about a half? He came back, 9 and a quarter, 9 and a half. How about a 50, 50? He likes the color. How about 950, 50, 50, and my soda tank? 925, number 4 to buy. 925, number 4 is to buy. All right, here we got another 28. Number 4. Here's old 4. It's going to be guess what? Gonna be here 7. How about 7? He said 3 and a quarter half. Out of hand, give me half, let's say we go. How about 75? We are half, 75 here, 84. How about 400 on it, 375, let's say. 4 on 9, quarter, and a quarter, 4 here, need a quarter, now half. How about a half? 4 and a quarter is a half, here is 75. How about 75? Hey, wake up, guys. How about 4 and 75? 75. Too late. So, right here. That's 450, number 6 is the buyer. All right, see what happens when you talk to everybody. Did you bring one? Okay, he's eating. Okay, here we go. Here's card number 29. And here we go, 96, they're gonna help him on. $4 how the matter stood in the right here, 800, he said, here. What do you got? You got you? Yeah, try it again. 2 and a quarter, 2 and a half. Are you in a half? I have a quarter, need a half. How about you gonna go 50, 50, 50, and then we sold it, okay? 325, number 6 to buy, there we go. Here's number 30, 99, 4. That's the next week. Too long, 1 minute, sugar the moment. Go back down to the road, bring that next truck. We can really good stuff inside too. How about $500? Who knows? Okay. Yeah, maybe. Hey, how much would it be? Three and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter, half? How about 175, 4 and a half, 75. I got 5 and a quarter, 5 and a half. 75, then 6, quarter. And a quarter, now half, 75, maybe 75, 700, now a quarter. And a quarter, now half, 75, maybe 75. How about 75, 7 and a half over here. How about 775, 75, now 8, now a quarter. And a quarter, we said that 825. How about an 825, 825, and we have quarter half, half. I do. Quarter half, 75, 875, 8 and a half up here, 75, 9's over here, now a quarter, and a quarter, now a half, and a half, that's 75, now 1,000, now a quarter, and a quarter, now a half, now 75. Is that yes? What do you mean now? Come on now, 79. He started this, and 75 sold, 10 over here. At 1,050, 1,050, number 25, 20 is alive. There's an 060 Yukon XL. Automatic, what do you do with this one? Yeah, I don't think that'll go up too well. All right, here we go with $5. She said 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter? 350, you're gonna go 50. How about 350, 50, scratch one up. 350, 50, we sold it. 325, number 6, number 32. There's a 96 model. That's 250. Two-door automatic straight to the right here. How about they have that's pretty good one. How about they have another? 8, 8 and a half, 8 and a half, quarter, half. 8 and a half, no 75, no 9, no 100, no 9, quarter, half. 75, $1,000, now a quarter. And a quarter, 1,000 here, quarter there, and a here, 1,050. And a 50, 11, that's even better, 11 and a quarter. Quarter right over here, 8 and a half, 75. How about 75? Online, 11 and a half. 11.75, okay, 12, and a quarter. How about 12 and a quarter? Be a quarter, be a quarter, now a half, 12 and a half, 75. And 75, 13, 13, and a quarter. And a half, be a half, quarter straight, be a half. 13, 50, 75, 14, now a quarter. And a half, 75, we go 75, now 15, now a half, now 16. How about 16? Gonna be 16. And a half, 16, how about 15? And a 50, online is 16. How about 16, how about 50, 50, and a 17? We're gonna go 17, what do you say? Yes, sir. And 17, he's in that 16 and a half. 17, now half, now 18, can't take quarters, gotta go half. 18, 18, then 17 and a half. 18, 18, now half. 18 and a half, can't take quarters, gotta half. 19, how about 19? We're gonna go 19. How about 19? 19, we're gonna go 19, 18 first, wake up. 19, and I sold it, my side. At 1850, put on number 8, or number 3304. Very helpful. What on automatic, you're going to write it down, give me about $3 quarter. That's quarter half, 75, 4, now a quarter. And that quarter, the quarter, 4 is over here, 4 and a quarter, need a half. How about half, 4 and a quarter, 4 and a half, 75, 5, now a quarter. And a quarter, 5 is big, 5 and a quarter. How about half, now 75, now 6. How about 6, 600, we're gonna do 6, get it up. How about 6, cut it out, hit me first, your turn. 6, now a quarter, now a half. And a half and 75, 7. And a quarter. And a quarter, and a half, 71. Now 800, now 8, 775, we'll take 8. How about 800, now 8, what about Mr. Cooks first? 800? 8. And now a quarter, I knew this one good. 8, now a quarter. And a half. How about a half? Quarter's good here. Half where? 850, 850, 50, 850, 50, way. No 75, 9. How about 9? Come on, folks, your turn. How about 9? You're gonna go 900, you're gonna go 9, you're gonna go 9, you're gonna go 9, and a quarter. A quarter here. The old lady came back at 9. And a quarter? How about quarter, that quarter here, and then the quarter, quarter is not good, no, so. Not, that's not good. What happened here? All right, here we go, here we go, four, here. All right, guys, for the hard lunch, hey, here we go, somebody give me about 500. How about 500 bucks? You said three and a quarter. Uh-huh, 75. And now quarter. And now over here, over another. And now quarter, now half, 75. And five, and a quarter, and a half. And 75, and six, 606, now a quarter. And a quarter, need a half and a half, 650. And a 50, 50, 50, 75, now 700, now quarter. And a quarter, he said seven over here. 7 quarter, 7.5 and a half, 75, and 800, here, now we 775 each. How about 800, now we got it? And here, and I saw that. 775, number 20 is the buyer. We got number 35, is that okay? We understand you guys, okay? That's the third one, the next, I go around here, we got 600. About 600 bucks. I got three and a quarter, 3.5. 75 four. Then a quarter and a half. Then 75 five. Five. Now a quarter. Five and a quarter, 5.5. Here 75 six. Six. Now a quarter. Now a half. 75 and seven. Now about seven. We're gonna go seven. 675 7 and a quarter and a half. Now 75 8. Now a quarter. Now a half. And a half. 8 quarters here. 850, 850, right here, and this 75, 900. Up at 900, 40, now, half, and a half on site, and a quarter. Up at 950, 950, 950, and I sold it then for 925, 9, by 137, 137. Right, one over here is number 36. And we count 36. Although, the Medicaid, we gotta get title here, guys. So we're gonna get here, 7. How about 7? We 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter? You need a quarter. What do you say? 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter? There's no half. We got about 50. And 50, 50, we're gonna go 50, 50. We got about 50, 50, and we sold it. Okay. 325, number 6 is the buyer. No, I think we're good. All right, here we go. Number 37, here's another 3, Beamer, 330 CI model. I'll tell you what we're gonna do here, guys. I got 4 and a quarter. How about quarters and a half here, 75 and a 5 and a quarter and a half, 75 and 75, 6, 1 quarter and a half, 75. How about 75? We're gonna go 75, 700 and a quarter, 7 quarter, 7's over here. How about 7 and a quarter, quarter, now half, 7.5. How about a half, now 75, now 800. How about 800 now, 800, 775. I need 800 now here, now a quarter, and a half, 8.5, you're out again. 850, and now 75, now 900. How about 9, you're gonna go 900, 875, 9. How about 900, 900, you're gonna go 900, 900, 900, sold it. 875, we'll put them on number 8, right? Number 38 is an O2, BMW. All right, the next, we're gonna run here. How about 800 bucks? How about 400 bucks? 3.5, 4, now 4, now half, now 5 and a half, and 6 and a half, and 7 and a half, and 8 and a half, and 9 and a half, and 1,000 and a half, and 11 and a half, and 12 and a half. 13, now half, 14, now half, 14 now, I got 14 over there. How about quarter? You got a half, let's see what better, 75. How about 75? We got 14, 75. 75, 15, add 15. How about 15? 15, now half, a half, 16. How about 16? Money's 15 and a half on site. 16, now half. Do you half? I got 16 up here. 16 and a half there, that's 17. But 17, gonna go 17, gonna be 17, what do you say? And then we'll have, do we have, sir? We'll have 17 and a half, we got 17 right here. How about 17, how about 15, anybody else? Go, so, that's 1700 online. 39, there's an 09. Here we have the court, guys, for, what do you do here? 80 bucks and a key charge here now, okay? Hey, but, how much? About 1,000. You want 1,000? No, half. How about half? I got 1,000 right here. 1,050. And a 50 quarter. I got 10 here, 10 and a quarter, 75. 1,075. These are, you got a half? Yes. A half. 75. 11 and a quarter. And a half. A half. That's 75. Not 12. 1,200. How about 12? 1175 here. 12 right here. And a quarter. And a half. How about a half? How about a half? Yeah, 1275. 12 and a half over here. How about 1275? You got 1275, 1275, 75, 75, and we solar tank. Wait, 1250, 1250, you know something else? 40. Here comes the 40. That's a GS 300 now here. One call. You want 5? 5 and a half. Let's just start. 5, 5 and a half, 5 and a quarter, 5 and a half, 75, 6 now a quarter, now a half, now 75, and 7, you're gonna go 7, you're gonna go 7, and a quarter, and now 9, and a half, 7 and a half, 75, now 8, now a quarter, now a half, 75, and 900, now 9, you're gonna go 9, and a quarter, now 25, 950. 59, 75, it was 75,000 now a quarter, and a quarter now half, 75, now 11, but 11, it was 11, now quarter, 11 a quarter, 11 and a half. How about 11 and a half, your turn, here, 11, 15, it was 50, 50, 11, 50, 50, 50 here, and I sold it. 11, 25, 11, 25, to 150, 150, okay? I use number 41. It's a 2,000, hey, we'll figure it out now, okay? One, we're going to bring the number. 2 give about 800. How about 3? Wow, 3 get a quarter, 3 and a half, 75, not 4. And 4, I got 375. 4 here, you get quarter, you know, half. How about half? These 4 and a quarter on site. I got a half over here. 75 on line, 5 and a quarter, and a half. 75 and 6. How about 6? 600, 575 right here. How about 600? What, 6 and a quarter? 6 and a quarter, 6 and a half. How about a half? I got 6 and a quarter here, 6 and a half there, 675, 75, 7 and a quarter, quarter and a half, and 75, then 75, 7 and a half here. How about 75? We're going to do 75. Now we 800 now your turn. 800. 800. And we here a nice solar turn over here. 775 is fine. Right, 150 is the line. Now, square page number 4. All right, here we go. 103, BMW 330. All right, 4 automatic. Steady right here. It's yours, 815. Oh. All right, here we go. No, just like that, too. So you can't do that either. Here we go. Here we go, the Beamer guys. Quarter on, shipment right here. Are you gonna get 800? 800 bucks, 400 bucks. 5, 6 and a half, and 7. How about 7? 75, 7 and a quarter, and a half. And a half, these 7 and a quarter. How about 15? Gonna go 50, 57, 50, gonna go 50 here, 75, 800. 8 now a quarter, 825 and a half, 850. And then 75, gonna go 75, 8 and a half and line. 875, 875, 875, 75, 875, 9, number 9. How about 9 to 9 is going to be something thing. 875 online, right? Here we go. Here's our 3. Here comes a 97. Quarter on that, straight in the right. I got down to go left on the 29. And three, that's my half, three red, 31. How about 31? We're gonna go down here to this one. How about 31? We're gonna go one, two, three, 33, 32, 33. What do you say? How about 33? That'll fill five. How about 35? 34, 35. How about 35? We're gonna go five, we're gonna go five. No, super tank. And 3,400 online, right? There we go. Use 74. Eight Lexus. Yes, 350. Here, it's four dollars. So there's one the t-shirt, guys, okay? All right. And here we go. Another 1,000 on the Lexus car. Three and a half, four. How about four? Now half. Now half and five. And a half. And a half. And now six. And a half. How about a half again? A quarter, half. 75. How about 75? 75, 7. And a quarter. What a quarter? And a half. 75. And 800. Now we 775. And we and a quarter. And a half. And a half is 75. 875, 8.5 over here. 875 on line, 900, not 9, and a quarter. And a quarter, rings on site, over here, half there, 9.5, 9 and a quarter, 9.5. About 915, gonna go 15 and 15, that's 75. About 975,000. And 1,000. And 1,000. And 1,000 and a quarter, and a half. How about a half? Now 75. 1075. How about 75? We're gonna go 75, 1100. How about 11? We're gonna go 11 here. Hey, keep first, your friend. 11, not part. How about quarter here, 11 and a quarter? Oops. Yeah, 11 and a quarter, half. How about 11 and a half? How about 11 and a half? Here, 11 and a half, 75. Now 1175. We're gonna go 75, 1200. And I told you, see this heated quarter. And a half. And now 75, we're gonna go 75 plus 75. How about 1275? And now 13, now a quarter. And a quarter, one is 13, take a quarter. How about quarter? Now half, then you have, 13 and a half, what do you say? How about a half? No? So, at 13 and a quarter online, okay, that means that number, 55, was number 6, now it's Charger. I get run scratch, we do not scratch. $4, not a minute, what do you say? Hey, get a bit like that way. You said 4 and a half, 5, and now half, and now 6, and a half, and 7. How about 7? Now half, 7 and a half, that's quarter, half, 800, now half, and a half, 8.5, 8 on site, 8.5, a quarter, now half, now 75. How about 75? We're gonna have over here. 875, gotta go 75, 875, 900, not quarter. And a quarter outside of the red line, over here, 9.5, now 75. How about 75? We're gonna go 75, now 75,000, a quarter. And a quarter, he's in at 10. 10 and a quarter. How about 10 and a quarter, right here, now half, go 75. How about 75, now red, 1100, now Alexis. How about 11 down here, we have now quarter. 11 a quarter, 11 and a half. How about 11 and a half, 11 a quarter, 11 and a half. How about 11 50, gonna go 50, 50, and I saw it, got it. At 11, 25, 11, 25, 145. I'm up here number 46, as at 2012. For those, what do you do? How are you gonna give me about these? He got about 3 and a quarter, 3 and a half, now 75. And then 4, and 4, now that's 4 and a half. What is it looking? 450 to 75. But 75, 500, 500, 525, 5 is on site. How about 5 and a quarter? P, now half, 5 and a half, 5 and a quarter, 5 and a half, 75. How about 75, no sales, 600, no sales, no quarter. And a quarter, 6 over here. How about 6 and a quarter, guys? How about 6 and a quarter, now half, now 75. How about 75, then go 675. How about 675, 675, then we have no 7, no quarter, and a quarter was there. I think the peak is up now. How about 7 and a quarter, you were in there at 7 and a quarter. And we sold it one side. At 700, number 8 is the volume. 98 will front and people. All right, how the men, what do you do here? Do you get up? I got 2 and a quarter, 2.5, 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter? I got 3 and a quarter half. What is it? What's 75? How about 75? 3.5 here, 375. Are you ready? Now 4. I got 4 here, 400. He's 375, 4. Now 4. And a quarter, guys. I got 4 on the side. How about 4 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter down here? We're going to something. And $400, we'll put them on number 4, right? Here's number 48, 07. 4 don't have a match. They right here. They get a half 3. How about 3? They get 3, no half, no 4, no 4, no half, and 5, and a half, and 6, and a half, and 7, and a half, and a half. Now 8. 8 and a half. And a half, quarter. And a quarter, and a quarter here, a quarter, now half, that's 75. And 75, 75, 9, 4, 9, and a quarter. And a quarter, 9 in line, 9 and a quarter. How about a quarter, 25, now a half, that's 75, now 1,000. And 1,000, 975, take 1,000, not quarter. And a quarter, now half. How about a half, 10 and a quarters here. How about 10 and a half, 1 line, that's 75, that's 75, 10, 75. How about 75? Here goes 75. Now 11. How about 11? I do. I'll say here. 11 online. Now a quarter. There you go again. 11 and a quarter. 11's here. How about 11 and a quarter? 11 and a quarter. Then we sold it online. That is $1,100. 49 is a 5. We sold it about. And it looks at it, right? 490. Sugar the right here. How about we get up? How about we get up? 3 and a quarter. I got 3 already. 3 and a quarter and a half. I got a half and 75 up to 4. 10 and a quarter and a half. 75 and 5. 10 and a quarter. 10 and a quarter. 5 is over here. 5 and a quarter. Who said yeah? 5 and a quarter. Give me a quarter. Give me a quarter. What do you say? A quarter now a half. Now 75. Now 6. And a quarter and a half. 6 and a half. 75. How about 75? You gotta go 75. Let's move up. How about 675 over here? Now 7. I have 7. Not quarter. Not quarter? No half. I got half. There's 75. How about 75? 75 at mine. Now 8. 800. Now 8. Now 8. Now 8. How about 800? Not quarter. I read outside. 825. I do. How about 825? 825. 825. Here we go. 825. And we 25, easy, 8 and a quarter, we sold the tank. At $800, 150 is the buyer, yes, sir. And at number 50 is the only clause. It's a good guy, right? For now, how to match. Right here, I got 3 and a half up to 4. I got 4 and a half. I got a half where? I got 5, it's even better. Now, half, you're 6. Now what's this? 75, okay, fine. Now 6, now 4. And a half, just 75, gonna get 75, 6 and a half. I got 7, now quarter. And a quarter, and a half, 750, gonna go 50, 50, 7 and a quarter, half, 75. How about 75, gonna go 775, gonna go 75, 800. How about D, 800, you guys roll off. How about the $10, a quarter, D45, reach to the guys. How about a quarter, now how, 850. And at 50, you're going to go 50, 50, 50, 50, you're going to go 50, 50, 75, well, it's 75. And 9. Now 9. And a quarter. And a quarter, 9, quarter, half. Now a half. 9 and a quarter, 9 and a half, what about? How about 950? No, so. And 925, online, right here, so they're 51, here comes the 8, you got a head in there. All right, quarter, how to match, get it all, each other, somebody give 800. That is it. 4. How about 4 here, 400, 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter, 3 straight, 3 and a quarter, 3 and a half, 75, now 4, now 4. And a half, 450, and 75, you're gonna go 75, now 5, 500, and a quarter, and a quarter, he's in the 5. How about a quarter? And a quarter? Quarter, now a half, now 75. How about 75 over here? 5.5. How about 5.75? We're going to go 75, 75. And then we have sold. 75, 6. 6. 5.75 there, 6. The computer, I can't stop. How about 6? Now play. I got 6 on site. 6.25. How about 6.25? Just repeat first. 6.25, 6.5. Now 75. How about 75? 6.5 there. How about 6.75? 7. How about 7? You go 7. Now quarter, 7.25. Yes, sir. 7. How about 7.40? You need a quarter. A quarter down a half. I got a half. That's 75. How about 75? 7.5 on site. How about 75 on the line? 800. 8 now a quarter. And a quarter, 8's the bid. 8 and a quarter. Quarter now a half. 8.5, the 58, 25 here, 50 here, 75. How about 75? I know. 875. What is 75? How about 875? You see 8.5. 875, 900. How about 9? We're going to go down. We're going to go down. We're going to go down. 9 here. We're going to go down. We're short. 875. Number 685. Number 2 is in a week. Number 75. Down to the hot ones. Now we're trying here. 300. Oh, 300. 300. Yes, sir. Three. 3.4. 3.4. Half. I got a half. Here's 3.25. 3.5. I got 354. Now quarter. 4 and a half. 4.50. Gonna go 50, 50, 75. 4.75. 5. How about 5? Gonna go 5. Now quarter. 5.25. 5 here. Quarter here. Half. How about 5.5? 5.50 now. 75 now. 600. How about 6 and a quarter? Quarter. I got 6 over here, 6.25, and a quarter, and a quarter down here. We have overtime. 600 around. Number 6, 6 5. All right, guys, hey, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Don't forget to pay your bills, get your cars out of the yard, and I'm letting people come in tomorrow morning to open up 8 a.m., okay? And got all the way to 12 here to get your cars out. And we'll see you guys all next Thursday. Next Thursday, we'll do it again.